Oral Communication in Context, a video lesson created for senior high school learners. Hi! How are you today? Let's have first our learning outcomes. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain that a shift in speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy affects language form, duration of interaction, relationship of speaker, message, and delivery. Before we start, let's listen first to the conversation of Sarah and Belle, and after that, we will answer questions. Are you ready to listen? Let's go!
Do you have any plans for the weekend?
I haven't given it much thought. What were you thinking of doing?
I was planning on taking a trip up the coast to the beach.
What a perfect thing to do on a beautiful weekend.
Would you like to come along?
I think I would enjoy that a lot. When would we leave?
Saturday morning around 8.
Good. That would get us there with time to look around. There's a music festival in Santa Barbara on the beach that day.
Yes! I was hoping to be able to go to the festival.
I am so glad we talked. Thank you for inviting me to the beach with you.
From Sarah and Belle's conversation, let us answer these questions. What type of speech context is used in the conversation? The type of speech context used in the conversation is informal. It is informal since Sarah and Belle has just bumped with each other in the library and talked about their plans for the weekend. What speech style and speech act is evident in the conversation? The speech style and speech act that is evident in the conversation are casual or intrapersonal. It is casual or intrapersonal since the conversation is in dyad. Can you identify the communicative strategies in the conversation? The communicative strategies in the conversation are nomination and turn-taking. If you can still remember, Sarah and Belle has just asking and suggesting things in their conversation. What do you think will happen if there is a shift or change in any of these communicative strategies in various speech situations? Yes, you are right. There will be a communication breakdown because sometimes we tend to misunderstand each other if we are not sensitive or communicate well in a conversation. You got all the answers correct. Congratulations! You are now ready for our next topic. Our lesson for today is about factors that affect communicative strategies. We have the language forms, duration of interaction, relationship of speaker, role and responsibilities of speaker, message, and delivery. Are you ready? Let's do this! The first factor that affects communicative strategies are language forms. Language forms deals with the internal grammatical structure of words and phrases as well as the word themselves. When one compares boy and boys or man and men, he or she is considering the relationship between different language forms and structures. Language forms includes cross-cultural academic vocabulary, types of sentences used, and duration of interaction. Cross-curricular academic vocabulary words typically describe or are related to academic process and may include verbs, complex prepositions, and nouns. The second factor that affects communicative strategy is duration of interaction. Duration of interaction depends on the context, set in a conversation. If the message is delivered clearly to the listener, the interaction need not to be long. The third factor that affects communicative strategy is the relationship of speaker. Obviously, the speaker and the listener are the two most important keys in communication, as there would not be a communication exchange without them. But the speaker is arguably the most important key, as they are responsible for creating clear message that will be delivered to the listeners. The fourth factor that affects communicative strategy is the role and responsibilities of speaker. The role and responsibilities of speaker is to write and outline speech, rehearse speeches, give public presentations, and interacting audience members. The fifth factor that affects communicative strategy is message and delivery. One has always four options in speaking. We have extemporaneous, reading, memorization, and impromptu. These four gives the audience a direct message from a speaker, and the message should be clear, concise, and timely. There are also strategies for an effective oral delivery. We have pitch, rate, volume, vocal quality, appearance, pronunciation, posture, movement, gesture, and lastly, the facial expression. So those are the factors that affect communicative strategies. We have the language forms, the duration of interaction, relationship of speaker, role and responsibilities of speaker, message, and delivery. These are the important points that we have to remember. Language forms present the active use of language for a specific purpose. It expresses ideas, communicate with others, and show understanding of content in an academic setting. And lastly, we have to establish and maintain relationships, know and understand themselves, and find meaning in the daily grind. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time, and take care!